Hi there everybody, it's Claire Portis from I Wish I Can, I Will, and today I am joined by the lovely Karen Williams from Self-Discovery Coaching. Hi Karen.
Hi Claire, lovely to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Good. Karen's a coach and author, and she helps clients to stand out from the crowd and to make a difference. But she knows that in order to do that, that they have to have the skills to create and grow a successful business. So I wanted to talk to Karen today because I know that she has lots of skills that people who are listening will benefit from. But what Karen specifically focuses on, which I think is really interesting, is supporting those who want to write a book that's the hook to growing their business. Now, I come across lots of people who say, oh, I'd love to write a book, and you know, Karen is an author herself. She's already written 2 business books, so she is an expert in this field, having gone through the processes herself, and she trains and helps other coaches, consultants and therapists to do the same. So I wanted to share Karen with you today. Just to give you some background, the Make It Happen hangouts I've created because every day I come across women who are stuck in a rut, don't really know their future direction, and perhaps really need a dose of inspiration in order to get an idea of how they can make it happen too. So the aim of the Hangouts is to offer some inspiration from people who are making it happen, who are making the steps forward, so that you can learn from them and you can share their ideas and put them into practice. So Karen, thanks for joining us. I'm just so pleased you're here and that you were able to join me today.
Well, it's brilliant to be here, so Claire. So, fire away. What do you want to know?
Let's do it. So, first of all, what I thought we'd start is if you just tell us a little bit about you and about your Make It Happen journey, and we'll start there.
Brilliant. Okay, where do I start? I suppose the best place to start is back in January 2006 when I woke up one day and I realised I was in a job that I didn't enjoy doing, and I got myself my first coach. And that's how a lot of people get into coaching. You get yourself a coach and you think, hang on a minute, I could do this. And so she helped me to find a job that I actually wanted to do, and then I trained as a coach myself. So, you know, picture me, November 2006, so 8 years ago, more or less to the day, my certificate in my hand going, hey, I'm a coach. Yay! And it wasn't quite as easy as I thought it would be. So I started out a handful of business cards, website. I did all the things I thought I needed to be doing, but I wasn't standing out. I wrote my first book by default in 2009, where I was doing my NLP master practitioner, and I was interviewing people who were really successful in their field. So I spent time with people like Michael Neal, Gideon McMahon, Dawn Breslin, Hannah McNamara, Alison Marlowe, a range of different people, and they were really successful in terms of running a business, but they were also successful coaches as well. And I spent some time with them. In a nutshell, I wrote a book about it. I applied it to my business. I started working with coaches, consultants, people who were where I was, you know, sort of quite a few years before. 2010, I gave up my day job for good, and I've been doing it ever since. So, wrote another book.
So you actually did coaching alongside your day job. You didn't sort of give it all up and go into coaching. You were doing it at the same time, yeah?
Yeah, so back in 2006 I got a job, but I had a brilliant boss, and she was a master practitioner herself, and she let me go part-time. So you know, in those early years I got a brilliant piece of work with a pharmaceutical company, corporate, and I just took time off to actually deliver that work. But she allowed me to go part-time. So by the time I left, I was doing 1 day a week for about a year prior. But it was that sort of, you know, every month I got a paycheck. You know, might not have been much, but every month I did. But I wanted to do more than that. So yeah, so now I've written 4 books now, although only 2 of them are published. One is on it, well, the other 2 are on their way. So wow. Yeah, it's really exciting. And over the last year, I've helped more and more people with their books, and I've decided to make that a really key part of my business, because I'm seeing amazing things happen when people do write a book and they share their story and they inspire other people.
So so my next question was, you know, when you were sat in this job and you weren't very happy, was the biggest, at what point did you go, no, I need to do something else? You know, what was the catalyst?
You may not believe it now, but when I was young, I was really shy. And I remember my boss saying to me one day, Karen, you need to speak out more. You need to, you know, I was doing a relatively, you know, junior management role. And, you know, she said, you need to speak out more. And I thought, yeah, but my style is I wouldn't say I'm an extrovert, but certainly if I think back 8 years ago, I wouldn't even imagine that I would be standing on stage and speaking at a conference this weekend. I've written books. I wouldn't imagine that I would be doing something like this, because I was the sort of person who was shy away from anything that made me stand out. So it's really ironic in that respect.
So what exactly do you do to bring your ideas to life? So when you wrote your first book, You know, what obviously you were mixing with other coaches and people who, you know, had a lot to share. So when did you go, right, I'm going to write a book?
When they started telling me things that I thought other people needed to know. So when
Right.
they started telling me things, I thought, you know, this is really simple, but, you know, other people need to know this. And they were telling me, you know, there were commonalities between, I interviewed 11 people initially, then I went on to interview 13 more. And there were commonalities between things they were telling me. And that's why I decided to write a book. And I just thought, well, I can do that, can't I? You know, it took me 18 months from start to finish. I didn't have a blooming clue what I was doing. But now I know. And that, you know, I written my last book within 3 months and it should be out by the end of the year. So when you've got a process, it makes it so much easier. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. So so obviously you were inspired by what people are telling you. People need to know this. So
Yeah.
what did you do? Did you just start writing? Did you do a structure? Did you just think, oh, that's interesting? Or did you make a decision to write a book? Or did you find yourself just writing stuff anyway that kind of came into book form?
I had to write a project for my NLP Masters anyway. I had to write a project, write up all the initial interviews I did, and I turned it into, I created a plan and then wrote the book from the plan. And now what I have created now is the blueprint that I share in my new book, Your Book is a Hook, because I've got that blueprint, because I've written 4 books now. I know where you need to start. I know where you need to finish. I've gone through the pain so other people don't have to go through it. Because when I wrote my first book, it's like, how do I get published? And I went through the pain of, you know, approaching publishers and, you know, seeing what else was out there and, you know, going through that whole confidence piece. Am I good enough? Will anyone read it? You know, what will people have to say? And I just had to take a deep breath and just do it, because I thought I've got such valuable information here, and I've interviewed people who are expecting this now to become a book, and so I just did it, and it got to #1 on Amazon, so it can't have been that bad.
No, that's fantastic. Congratulations. That's absolutely brilliant. So when you started, you know, what were the biggest obstacles that you had to overcome when you first started writing your book? What were the things that you found most difficult?
I love writing, so I find that really easy. I've written hundreds of blogs. I've written 4 books now. The most difficult obstacle, it was, yeah, the confidence piece, you know, the whole sort of getting my message out there, knowing that writing a book was going to make me stand out. It was going to, you know, other people that I know now have said to me, you know, Karen, I didn't notice you until you wrote your book. And then, you know, people have come to my book launch, you know, people I mentor with now, and they didn't really know who I was before then. And then suddenly, I stood up and had a book launch party and said, hey, this is me, this is what I think. And when you put your opinions out there in a written form or video or, you know, speaking or however you do it, you're going to get people who love it and you're going to get people who hate it, and that's okay, and that's a really big thing to overcome.
Yeah, and I think you're right there. I think you're Marmite to some people. You either they love you or hate you, and I find that as well with a lot of people I talk to. Not everybody's going to like you, like your personality or like what you have to say, but that is but there will be people who do, and it's don't listen to the haters, listen to the people who are enjoying what you have to say.
Yeah, and if you don't get your message out there, you're not going to reach those people. You're not going to make the difference. And, you know, one of my motivations when I started out is I wanted to make a difference. And I soon realised that I can't change the world, but I can do so one person at a time. But now when I work predominantly with coaches and therapists, if I can help them with their business, if I can help them to write a book, we can change the world together and we can reach more people and we can make a big difference. So that's part of who I am and what I love to do.
So how do you balance your kind of make it happen projects or your books with everything else that you do? I mean, how do you fit it all in?
Well, yeah, really good question. I am a hard worker, but the thing is, I like to flex my time. You know, you might see me online in the evening, but you might see me in the gym in the morning. I've been to the gym this morning, you know, and for me, it's just about, I have to have holidays. I love holidays. I live for my holidays, and you know, I love my work. You know, I love working with people, but I absolutely love traveling. It's a passion of mine and my husband's, so we do a lot of traveling. So it's about fitting it in and prioritizing, and also setting some boundaries around it. You know, I might go out for the afternoon. I might, you know, it's just really about having that flexibility to do what I love and to have some downtime as well.
So I like this question. Someone asked me this question at an event I went to the other week, and it's kind of, what has been your biggest cock up on your make it happen journey?
My biggest cock up, right in the early days, I thought, people say you have to have a product, so I created a bright, shiny product, which was really good. But I didn't sell it first. So I spent ages creating this product that I got a little bit of interest, and I did a sort of a promo, and you know, I got some people on the pilot, but it never really took off. And that was my biggest cock up. And now whenever I create a product or a program, I'll sell it first, I'll promote it first, and then I'll create it. And I have been known sort of like, oh crap, you know, 15 people have signed up for that. Oh, I better start writing it. I've got the first webinar on Friday or something like that. And I have been known to suddenly have that, that last minute panic. But I also know that it fires me up as well. It gets me going. So that was my biggest cock up.
Get you focused, isn't it? And I think we've all made those cock ups. I mean, I've done stuff before, and I think, I miss more about missed opportunities, really. Where you've done something, or you've worked hard on something, and then you didn't make an offer at the end of it, or the next stage. And I think when I spoke to somebody last week, they were saying, that's what they did. You sometimes miss opportunities, but there's nothing like a bit of pressure, is there, Karen?
Well, no, and also we have to cock things up. If I cock things up anyway, I help my clients not to make the same mistakes. But you have to learn from your mistakes. And if you ask me, I can probably reel off about another half a dozen cock ups I've done. But that was the one that really stands out for me. It's the one that, now I say, and it's very counterintuitive, isn't it? Because you want to create this nice, bright, shiny product, and you need to know what's included. But you can still have an outline. You can still have a web page. You can still have information about it, even if you haven't actually created the shiny modules that make up the program. And I think that's really key to
Okay. And what do you obviously, you're very passionate about what you do, and that just comes through just from talking to you and seeing you talk about what you do. But what is it that you love most about what you do and about making things happen and making it happen?
What do I love? I just love working with clients that inspire me as well. When I'm having a conversation with somebody, like a sort of consultation, and I start to get the goosebumps on my arms because I see the story they've got to share. I know the difference they can make in the world, and I can see, I can hold a mirror up and really show them what they're missing and what I can help them to achieve, or we can work together. And that's the thing that I love. That's the thing that really inspires me.
And on the other side, what do you fear most? What is it that you fear most about what you do? What is the thing that you think, oof, God, not quite sure about that. Oh God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to step out. What are the fears around what you do?
Gosh, I don't know if I've got any fears because I tend just to do it anyway. I'd much prefer to. There are certain things I love to do. I love to write, but I also know that I need to speak, and I like speaking as well. But the thing that really excites me is writing, be able to get my message across in that way. I think, like a lot of people, I might fear failure, maybe fear success. But there's no plan B anymore. I don't think anyone would want to employ me, not after sort of like 4 years of being, working for myself, running a business. And I would hate that, actually. And I just love the sort of, I don't know, there's just something about working for myself that I just love it. I can't put my finger on it right now.
Yeah. And how do you get the clarity that you need? So say you come up with a book idea, and how do you get the clarity about what that's going to be, or you're doing a new course? How do you get that? Because one of the things I find when I'm speaking to a lot of clarity to clients is they lack the clarity that they need to move forward. And I'm just interested to know, how do you gain clarity about your next project?
Okay, so I'll give you an example from Your Book is a Hook, which is my new book in the programme. So it's my new book. I ran a programme of the same name over the summer, and I did a series of 1-hour webinars over the summer to get people's questions on writing a book, to find out what people wanted to know when it came to writing a book. So what were their concerns, their worries, their questions, and that helped me to form the programme, and it helped me to form the book. So it's really getting feedback from other people, talking to people. I know I get my best clarity when I work with my own mentors. I'm part of a mastermind group this year, and for me that is part of it. So I need, I like people to bounce ideas up. I've got a brilliant VA who's, pretty much a business partner as well. And if I need to run something by her, she's more than happy to listen and say, Karen, that's silly, or yeah, go for it. And I think it's just having those outside influences. But I'm quite internally motivated as well. I kind of know sort of round about here, deep down, what is the right thing to do, and that keeps me on the straight and narrow as well. I don't need someone breathing down my neck to make it happen, but when I am accountable to someone else, I know I've got a mentoring call, I will get my ass into gear.
It is funny because that was going to be my next question. I think support networks are really important when you're trying to try do anything new, either in life or business. Yeah. And so you've mentioned you have a coach, you have a mastermind group, you have a VA, and has that evolved over time? And what does that influence bring to you?
I think I've pretty much had a mentor most of the time over the last 8 years, a coach or a mentor. There's been like a few odd months where I haven't, so that's been really important for me. I tap into things when I need it. There's not much point in trying to do everything myself at the end of the day, because I am only one person. I love to work with my clients. So, I've got someone who's been helping out with SEO, I've got someone who's been helping out with video, I've got web design, I've got VA, I've got my husband who's done a few bits for me as well, especially around the technology side of things. So it's really great to have, you've got to have that support network. And I pretty much have my VA for probably about 5 or 6 years. Like a lot of people, I created my own website and it went bang at midnight one night. So the next day I found out a web designer and she's been working with me ever since. So, it's just finding that right support team. And it doesn't have to be a 24/7 support team that you pay a salary in and out of when you need them.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have to kind of highlight the 3 most important things about your Make It Happen and how you make it happen, what would that be? What would they be, rather?
Have a plan. There's not much point in just sort of every day just thinking, oh, what am I going to do today? Oh, I'm going to do this, over here. And then when you really should be doing this over here. So I've got pretty much, for my next year, I've pretty much got a plan of what I'm going to have, what I want to have happen. I'll execute the plan and then I'll refine it later, because so back in September, I ran my first writing retreat in Spain, which was absolutely marvellous. And I'd love to go back. Well, we will be going back there next September. But just to make that happen, we had a plan. I was working with my client who was out in Spain, who lives in the village, and she was organising it for me, and we had a plan, and then we reviewed it later and went, okay, so that worked really well, that didn't go so well, how can we make it happen? And I'm helping her to make it happen for more people like me, so she can run other retreats, which is her passion.
Brilliant. So tell us a bit more about the writing retreats. That sounds really interesting. Any excuse to get away in September?
Wow, taking a group of people to Spain, southwest Spain, just in the Andalusian mountains, so really, really quiet. It's a lovely apartment there. So yeah, I just took some of my clients out there for writing time. So we did a meditation in the morning, went for walks, but the most important thing was the writing. It was that time and space away from everything that gets in the way. It was actually inspired by my web designer, who was one of my clients who came out as well. He's writing a book, and she was finding that she would have that time to write, and then suddenly, her daughter would suddenly, come up with, oh, Mum, I need to go here, or her son would need to go somewhere else, and she never had that time. So she inspired me to do it, and then it happened in September, and whenever I speak to anyone who came, they say, oh, I want to go back. Yeah, it's a really beautiful environment as well.
So, Karen, what I was going to ask you next is, if you were going to give a piece of sort of kickstart advice, predominantly to somebody who maybe does want to write a book for, as part of their business, or just has this inbuilt, I always think there's a book in me, I'm not quite sure how I get it, so maybe I'll be talking to you at some point. But I was just wondering, what kickstart advice would you give to somebody who does want to write a book for their business?
Okay, so basically, to write a book, there's a six-step process that I teach people. So the first part of it, before you even start to write, you need to get your business book, what I call book ready, which means that there's not much point in writing a book that's going to appeal to everybody. You need to be quite niche in your book if you're going to use it to stand out. So the sorts of things you need to do is like get really clear on who your reader is, your ideal client, your niche, who you want to read it, what problem you're going to solve with the book, and also what else has been written about the subject and how your book is different from everything else that's been written. And then it's more about looking, actually defining that topic and your unique angle and your unique hook. And then you can get down to the planning, the writing, publishing, and obviously the marketing side of things, because to be honest, Claire, writing the book is the easiest part. It's everything else before and everything else after, which takes more time. I'm in the editing phase of Your Book is a Hook now, and I've got a brilliant proofreader, copy editor on standby, ready to actually take it from me within the next couple of weeks. But there's a myriad of things to do, but the first thing is about making that decision to stand out. It's making that decision to become more visible, to explore your, what you do well, and actually get that out through the book. But there are things that you need to do before you start writing. It's not much point in writing any of your book. It's got to be a good book at the end of the day that you can use to grow your business. And there's all sorts of secrets I can share around it.
Ooh, we love a secret.
Okay, I'll share one secret with you, which I was talking to an image consultant the other day, and she said, she's more than an image consultant, but that's the easiest way of describing her. And she said, well, I want to write a book, but I want to include images in it. Isn't that going to, if I self-publish, isn't that going to make it expensive? And what if I want to change things? And the most important thing with a book is to make it a marketing tool. You know, if you're writing a book to allow you to stand out and to build your credibility, it's about using it as a marketing tool. And if she can direct people to her website, where she can change things on a regular basis, where she can update things, she can provide more value for people. And that is going to be the secret that makes the biggest difference for her. But it is about using your book as a marketing tool. You know, you're not going to be a millionaire. I remember having a conversation with one of my coaches years and years ago, and she said, I see my book as a retirement plan. Well, it's not going to be a retirement plan unless you're someone like Paul McKenna, Tony Robbins, and people who are really well known, who've got that international presence. It's not going to be your retirement plan, but it will help you to grow your business. It will help you to open doors where the doors are closed already.
So tell us, Karen, just briefly, what are the sort of things that what doors have been opened for you as a result of writing, 2 books and one on the way? What sort of things do you do with your book when you use it as a marketing tool? How do you do that?
Really good point. It's got me some speaking engagements. It's got me an invitation to pitch to speak to a national conference. Clients can get to know me before they come to me. So they've read my book. They can get to know me first. So when I do speak to them, it's a conversation where they're there saying, well, how can I work with you? And it just makes. And they can also see how I work. And, some people just sign up for my free stuff that they, know what to do, and that's brilliant. And some people want to work with me one-to-one. But it's just that other stepping stone that allows people to find out about you, without investing maybe thousands of pounds first. And it's just that first step.
Yeah. So, Karen, just to sum up, how can people work with you? What's the first step that people should take? Think, I really want to talk to Karen about, writing a book and her helping me. What's the best way for them to contact you or get in touch, or what do you offer?
Best way they can get in touch with me is to email me at karen@selfdiscoverycoaching.co.uk, or go to my website, which is www.selfdiscoverycoaching.co.uk. I've just got a very new ebook on my website, which is called 7 Reasons Why Your Business Needs a Book. And again, that's at selfdiscoverycoaching.co.uk. And then I will share with you the 6 steps that I teach through my book, and there's a chance to pre-order the book as well, so that's really exciting. That I took that deep breath last week and thought, I need a page for this, I need to start telling people about it, so that's ready to pre-order, and it'll be available. If it's not December, it'll be first thing in January. It just depends how everything falls together over the next couple of weeks.
That's good timing, isn't it? Because it's the start of a new year when people go, right, exactly. I'm going to write a book. So I think that's brilliant.
Exactly. I just want to inspire more people to do that, because I know the difference it's made to my business. It's, and also some of my clients, the opportunities they're getting, even by saying I'm writing a book. You don't necessarily have to have that book in your hand. I'm writing a book that's going to help you to do X. So it just builds your credibility in those areas, and I'm seeing that with some of my clients now as well.
Brilliant. Karen, thank you so much. It's been really inspiring to hear about it. I mean, a book is kind of on my to-do list at some point. I don't think I'm quite ready yet, but at some point I will be, and I know exactly where to come in that case.
Brilliant. Thank you.
So thank you for joining us today, and we'll send people off to your website, which is www.selfdiscoverycoaching.co.uk if you want to find out more. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you soon.